As we come to the end of another fiscal year, this has been a great opportunity for our Truth 78 team to both reflect back with a sense of gratitude to God, and then to look ahead to the opportunities and the possibilities for the coming year with a sense of anticipation and excitement and hope. When our board of directors met earlier this week for our annual meeting, one of the agenda items was to approve the ministry plan and budget for the coming year. And just before we voted, I said, I feel like we're standing before a massive and seemingly insurmountable mountain. And what we're about to do is resolve to climb that mountain this next year. Now, the board happily and wholeheartedly embraced the challenge with a hope that is rooted in three realities. Reality number one, God in His Word assures us that the steadfast love of the Lord endures forever. And one generation shall commend God's works to another, and they shall declare His mighty acts. And He who did not spare His own Son, but gave Him up for us all, how will He not also with Him graciously give us all things? And fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And what is impossible, and I would say what is insurmountable for men, is surmountable with God. So God is for us, and for the mission to make His glorious deeds known to the next generation. And that gives us great hope. The second reality is that this is not the first big mountain that we've had to climb at Truth 78. Last year, we were feeling just as intimidated as we do now. And when I look at these thermometers, I remember a year ago, there was no red inside. And now, look what God did. Sure, there's still a gap that we're trusting God's going to fill in the next few days, but I stand here amazed and forever grateful to God for what was accomplished in this most unusual and challenging year of ministry. Not only has God spared us potentially serious financial setbacks from a pandemic, but by God's grace, 14 new resources were produced for the church and the home, which is more output than any other year in our history. And this coming year, we're planning to release 20 more English resources, plus another 27 more translated resources for our international brothers and sisters. And then there's more than a story. The Old Testament, Volume 1, made its way into more than 23 homes since it was released last December. And now we're preparing for the release of the New Testament, Volume 2, in October. Now, we're already hearing stories about the impact that this book is having on children, who obviously are the target audience for this book. But what we're realizing is the impact that this book is having on older generations. We heard from one woman who gets together once a week with her adult daughter to share what they're learning as they work their way through More Than a Story. We're also very encouraged by another woman who told us that she repented from sin and trusted Christ when God opened her eyes to His holiness and glory by reading More Than a Story. God has been faithful. Mercies were new and sufficient every morning of this past year, and we are ready to trust Him for another year of mercies. And the third reality is when we consider the growing number of partners who are joining us in advancing this insurmountable mission, we are encouraged. Some of you are investing in our resources and then using them for the discipleship of the next generation, which so encourages us. Others of you are investing financially so that we're able to inspire a vision and spread a passion for the comprehensive discipleship of the next generation to all nations, and that encourages us. And what encourages us even more is that many of you are praying and asking God that all of our efforts would conspire to make His glorious deeds and the wonders that He has done known to our children and to their children after them and to all generations. Now, these thermometers do have a small gap left that we're still trusting will be filled by the end of this month so that we can begin our climb up that next mountain without the extra baggage of a budget shortfall to make up for. If you've been considering purchasing some of our resources, this would really be a great time for you to make those purchases. And if you've been considering investing financially in this ministry, this would also be a really good time to make that investment. And if you've never invested in this ministry, there are $50,000 in matching funds that are available to triple the investment of every new financial partner. And of course, any month and any time is a great time to pray for the faith of the next generation. And while you're at it, please join us in praying and trusting God to help fill that little gap that remains in these final days of our fiscal year. And thank you. Thank you for your interest in True 78 and for giving me the opportunity to share these thoughts with you. And may the Lord bless you and give you all that you need to do His will for His glory and for the joy of the next generations.